Good morning, good morning. Perhaps it is good evening, good afternoon for many. Welcome, Denmax, living life to the fullest. How are you? Thank you for listening in. And of course, you can see my title. I knew that would fall. March Madness, Cats and Plays. I don't plan to be here long because I need to get up in a few hours, but I've been listening as I peruse these YouTube streets. And it is unbelievable some of the behaviors I've observed and living life to your fullest. I don't want to speak for you, but I believe you would concur. So before I go any further, I would like to play a couple of quick clips. And I think it's actually fitting.
Been telling you for a couple of weeks now, everybody's got a price. She had her price, and you got your price. Everybody's got a price for me, the $1 million man.
Now, I am a huge wrestling fan. So, does anybody remember the $1 Million Man? And I'm going to drop this real quick just in case. And I'll play it again for those who missed it. But from what I've seen, and I say that because I've seen people enter other, I don't want to say sectors, I'll just say spaces. And to, in my opinion, and you're free to do what you want to do with your money, go for it. But just make sure, that's just my opinion, you're doing it for the right reasons. And I think a lot of people are getting cloudy and letting things get a bit too far. And again, this is just from my optics, but purchasing the largest or the most expensive memberships just to fit in. And usually, when you're the individual that is doing this, you don't see what other people see on the outside. So, some of you may want to be mindful of that because it's starting to look, yes, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I grew up on wrestling, and here is just another quick clip, and it mimics what you see on the thumbnail. The good old Soul Train scramble board. And I'm wondering if any of you can figure out what these words I have on the scramble board actually spell. You can sing to me. It's everything that it should be. Loving you the way I can move. Now, those of you not in my original particular space probably will not know the words. Well, some of them, but you'd have to be from my original space to figure out each and every word. But I'm saying all of this to say I have not witnessed the amount of flip flopping and that I have these couple of weeks. And I spoke on this briefly, and I was listening to a couple of lives tonight, and while some say it's legit, a part of me think or believes that there's some plays in there because to me, and then again, I could be wrong. This world we live in now is a lot different than what it was when I was coming up. And there wasn't so much treachery and conniving going on and blatant. I mean, directly in your face. And then some people, I'm really surprised at the changing of the guard, if you will. Now, I have myself forgiven people and moved on, but just because, and I will continue to say this, just because I've forgiven doesn't mean I've forgotten. And as I've mentioned last year and early at the beginning of this year, and for all intents and purposes, it's early 2024, and more things are being revealed. People, you need to understand, and this goes for me too. You cannot, you cannot, no matter how intelligent, how quickly you are able to formulate a sentence and deliver it, because I know I talk extremely slow, but there's a reason for that. You won't be found out. And I've said this so many times before. People do not pay attention. Hey there, Graham, how are you? The person in the front row who has purchased the most expensive ticket to your show isn't so much there to support you. Rather, they're there to witness your downfall. Because believe me, ladies and gentlemen, if you've lived in this world as long as I have, hey there, Trayon, good to see you. And you do not have to run away, even though I know you're sleepy. If you lived on this earth as long as I have, and that's 50 plus years, 55 to be exact, you're going to witness many things. And behavior is one of them. And we all, I believe, have within discernment. Some people are empaths, such as myself, and we give people the benefit of the doubt. We give first chances, second chances, third, sometimes fourth. Eventually, that next chance may be lethal. And I don't mean that in a end all to be all way, but lethal in that your trust has been betrayed or compromised, or you, because you've entrusted someone something, and now you're leery about trusting others. I don't like to feel like that, but because I've experienced it, I'm a little bit more careful. I can work on it. I most certainly need to work on that, but I'm just watching and listening to different sectors, and it appears to me that some of the same things, the exact same things, are going on. Doxing, calling people's places of employment, sliding in, allegedly, DMs, exposing messages. It's to the point that It would behoove everyone, myself included, because my hands aren't clean. And I've said that before too. I would not be honest if I were to sit here and say I'm completely innocent of everything, because that would not be true. But to, in my opinion, expect expect any, even a modicum of privacy when you share something with someone, I would, again, it's just me, I would caution that, because the moment some people get angry, all bets are off. And then there are videos and community posts or community walls, and some people go hog wild on these community walls. And I can just say this, and this I know for sure. Usually, I'm doing well, Graham. Thank you. I'm sorry for not responding earlier. Sometimes when I start speaking, I just go on and not even pay attention. So I'm sorry about that. When you continue to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, you leave that room where someone who is very analytical, critical in their thinking, and can see the holes. Question number one, motive. Number two, identify and establish a pattern. And then number three, observation. And there have been several people that are exhibiting the same behaviors, and they're being called to the carpet. And from my optics and just my opinion, damage control is in full effect. But when you, and it may not be immediately, but when you knowingly, intentionally seek to harm people, and harm doesn't always mean in a physical sense. You can harm people in many ways. Eventually, that boomerang or that pendulum is going to swing back in your direction, and your true support. And when I say support, I mean those who truly believed in you and truly wanted nothing but the best for you, won't be there anymore. Next, consider the source, and I've spoken on this many, many times. Consider the source, because I cannot believe how some of these people, not just the men, but the women who listen to certain content creators who are very crafty, I must say, look them directly in the eye and feed them malarkey, and then tell them that it's steak. And the listeners just eat it up. I laugh at it. I literally laugh at it because for some reason you forget that some of these people have had alliances. Some people, and some of these are men, in my opinion, want approval from others so badly that they'll go to any length to achieve that. Whether it's immoral, unethical, as long as they get that approval. But my question to you is, good morning, Benoit, how are you? I'm waving back to you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone that's come in. But to seek the approval of another human being would lead me to believe that something, hey there, Just Valencia, a long time. How are you? Blessings to you. But seeking the approval of another grown man and women as well would lead me to believe that there's something missing from within that you haven't accepted, or perhaps you're not aware. Hey there, Mama Hania. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. And greetings to you. So, all of these things, behaviors, really need to be examined. And the main takeaway from all of this is, and as I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, I truly believe that there are people that can and do change, but it's not overnight. And there are others that may act as if they've changed, when in fact, it's just a facade. And you have to use discernment and common sense to know and realize the difference. And what I said earlier about patterns, if they've done it before, and if they have a pattern, hey, they're all heart, grit, and grind. If there's a pattern of these individuals doing it to several people, what makes you any different, more special than the next person, for it not to happen to you? Because I'm beginning to believe.
I've been telling you for a couple of weeks now. Everybody's got a price. She had her price, and you got your price. Everybody's got a price for me, the $1 Million Man.
It's all about the bag, the notoriety. And even after you achieve the bag and the notoriety, are you happy? Or can that be likened to, for those that dabble in recreational entertainment. I'll just say it like that. Is it like achieving that first euphoric high? You get addicted where you have to continue. Let me grab this comment. And that's Mama Hania. So that's what I've been seeing a lot of lately, and people don't see themselves. And I don't know how many people go back and review. But as I said, some people may not even care. But it's a bad look when we speak about uplifting, we speak about protecting and respecting, and you have these individuals with resumes, decorated resumes. Yet when they open up their mouth, vile, completely disrespectful, and demeaning. And you have women that sit there, listen to it. Sometimes cheer it on. And I've said this before as it relates to domestic violence, verbal abuse. I understand that this is YouTube, but there are a lot of people that have anger issues and mental health issues. Some have sought therapy, others may not have. I am not a therapist nor anything under that umbrella, so I want to put that disclaimer out there. But some of the behavior I've seen, it makes me wonder. The behavior that's exhibited on this app or other social media platforms, does it just stop? Does it just turn off like a faucet once you click the live button off? Or does it continue? Does it continue to your spouse, your significant other, your roommate, your children, other family members, other friends? How far does it really go? What's the end game? All Heart Grit and Grind says, good question. No, I'm absolutely serious, All Grit and Grind, because I have seen people, and I'm not going to call them out, but go on what appears to be almost 24 hours on panels, yet they say that they work. Now, maybe they do, maybe they work from home. There's still a lot of hybrid employment that's going on, but honestly, I call cap on a lot of it. Unless some people have trust they can go into, or have been left an inheritance. I know even in my younger days, and I've put in some hours, I still wouldn't be able to pull that off. So the bottom line is, do you see that some people could truly be suffering from social media addictions? And because some people may have, not saying that they have, but because there's a possibility that there has been some form of embellishment, that they have to continue and make sure that the stories presented are consistent. Because the minute you deviate from consistency, that's when a barrage of critical thinkers and really, really good listeners can punch holes through your stories and you lose all credibility. I've seen certain content creators get demolished for speaking their truth. And they may not be as popular because they want to protect other people, when in fact, if it were not for certain individuals, certain things would not have happened. And then you have a handful of people that bring nothing but chaos and confusion. And slowly, whether you realize it or not, and I've said this long ago, it's busting apart in the seams. And no seamstress will be able to stitch up this mess that's forthcoming. All Heart, Grit, and Grind says, if those people are monetized, social media is their moneymaker. Yes, they are monetized. And as I mentioned, I've seen people go to several platforms, huge platforms. And when I say huge, I mean their support group, their subscriber count is extremely high, meaning they pull a lot of people in the chat group. So if you donate or get the memberships, of course you're going to be seen. And if you get the highest amount, there are some content creators whose memberships are well over $20, some even more. I've seen one, I couldn't believe it, but they have a lot of subscribers, $100. And if you have the money and you're led to spend it on that, you like it, I love it. But when you have other responsibilities, other priorities, and you put those priorities aside just to, as I mentioned, feel a part of a group, and to me, that says a lot about what may be going on inside of you. Could it be maturity level? I don't know. Could it be ego? I don't know. I'm not a therapist, I can't answer those questions, but to me, the behavior seems a bit odd. And slowly, for some who have, as I mentioned, caused a lot of problems for people. And keep in mind, on social media, I believe they're characters. I absolutely believe there's, that was my other pillow. Sorry about that. There's a certain amount of manufactured beef. I get that because I know for sure there are people who talk behind the scenes and get things going. And again, for many people, it's about getting and securing that bag. So I get that. But when it goes dark, that is what I do not like. Yes. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Graham, because there are some people, and I've noticed it, and I've had to contact, what is it, creator support issues with my page. There are people out there, and I hate to say it, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody because without proof, I just wouldn't do it. But there are people out there that will, put it this way, they will manipulate your page. They'll manipulate your page, and you'll notice certain things, and you end up questioning it, and then people will end up questioning and looking at you. So you have to be extremely careful of who you really allow close. And once you determine certain behaviors and go back and listen to what some people may have said, then you'll start to put more pieces of puzzles together. Check your credit reports just to see if there's any soft pulls on it. Because, as I've mentioned, people are pulling information, and then some people like to put for educational and entertainment purposes with no malicious intent. Well, if you don't really know that person and that person hasn't done or said anything about you, what entertainment and educational value does snooping through their background, whether it's public or not, have to do with you? Some of you will soon be in for a rude awakening. Some people need to read fine print. You do not know who's watching pages, and who has been watching pages for the longest time. And those of you hiding behind troll names, it's not very difficult to be figured out. just be very careful with the digital footprints some of you are leaving on this app and other apps. And yes, I understand freedom of speech, but there is a thin line, and that line is crossed when you dip into defamation or speaking things that are not true, especially when you're angry. To put a jacket on a person when there's no record of it. There's something that just came out in the guidelines about saying things that are not true. And there are a lot of people hurling rapist and pedo. You may want to think about the words that you're using and those who you allow up on your platform, especially those who have their own. Has it ever occurred to you that people have motives to ruin your platform by the language that they use, by accusations that they use on your platform, not theirs, but yours? But some of you get so enamored by the colors going off on the screen or the cash apps that hit your phone. You don't think about the consequences you may end up having to bear because of someone else who may be, and I quote, your biggest cheerleader. If I were some of you, I would cut some of those losses with a quickness. And it doesn't have to be cold, callous, or abrupt. Keep in mind, this is a business for some people. And as business women and men, you should always want to protect your business from those who may be bad for your brand. So with that, it is 3:30. Just wanted to come up and say that. And the Soul Train scramble board is still there. For those to figure out what those words are. And if anyone does figure out what those words are, leave it in the comment section. Everyone have a good night or a good morning. Until next video, bye-bye for now.